Welcome back to Inherited Dawn, a One Piece podcast, the only place breaking down the Grand Line, one chapter at a time.
This week, we have Chapter 206, Ignition.
Ignition is right. This chapter is a pure adrenaline shot. We have a 7-second timer until a capital city explodes, and the only thing that can stop it is the single most ridiculous, most brilliant, most straw hat plan I have ever seen in my life.
It's a human slingshot, basically.
A multi-stage human slingshot involving our entire crew. It's like a Rube Goldberg machine made of Nakama. If you believe in teamwork like the Straw Hats do, you know the best way to support the crew is to make sure you get the next episode delivered right to your feed. It helps us out more than a well-placed cyclone tempo.
Let's just hope our listeners don't have to aim for Usopp's crotch.
Hey, whatever it takes to save the kingdom, let's get into it because the clock is ticking.
The chapter opens in the streets, away from the main fights. The rebels and the Marines are clashing, and it's pure chaos. You can feel the desperation. The battle lines have completely dissolved.
And right in the middle of it, you see these Baroque Works agents dressed up like rebels, trying to play mind games with the Marines. They run up and shout about them attacking innocent civilians. It's such a dirty, underhanded tactic. They're weaponizing confusion.
It's a classic propaganda move, a textbook false flag operation. Frame the authorities as the aggressors, make them hesitate, and use that hesitation to press your advantage. In a war, the moment you second-guess your actions is the moment you lose momentum. It almost works, too. You see the Marines pausing, looking at each other, lowering their swords. They're soldiers, but they're not monsters. They don't want to cut down civilians.
And that's exactly what Baroque Works is counting on. They're exploiting the Marines' sense of honor. It's infuriating to watch. But then Tashigi just steps forward, doesn't say a word, and cuts the guy down. No hesitation. She just tells her men, use your own senses to identify the enemy.
That's a huge moment for her. This is not the Tashigi we met in Logtown.
Not at all. The Logtown Tashigi would have been paralyzed by the rulebook. Are they confirmed hostiles? What are the protocols? She would have been quoting some obscure regulation while the city burned around her.
She was so defined by her singular focus on swords, specifically in reclaiming famous blades from pirates like Zoro. It was almost a form of tunnel vision. She saw the world through the lens of a sword curator, not a commander. Now, faced with a crisis that has nothing to do with a Mito blade, she's forced to grow.
And she does. She trusts her gut. She saw the deception and acted. It's a pure instinct play, and it's what a real leader does. That line, use your own senses, is such a powerful statement. It's her giving her soldiers permission to be human, to use their judgment instead of just blindly following orders that don't fit the situation.
It's Smoker's influence undeniably. His whole philosophy is about finding his own justice, not just following orders from on high. He bends the rules constantly to do what he feels is right. She's finally internalizing that lesson. She's not just his subordinate anymore. She's a leader making a tough, bloody, but necessary call on the ground. She took responsibility for the decision, so her men didn't have to.
And it's the right call. 100%. It snaps the Marines out of their stupor and keeps them from being manipulated into being the bad guys here. She's holding the line. Then she looks up, sees the clock tower, and you can feel the panic hit. The panel of her face with the clock tower reflected in her glasses, you can feel her heart drop. Time is almost up.
From there, we jump to the top of that very clock tower. Mr. Seven and Miss Father's Day are just waiting.
The most casual pair of assassins ever. They're literally talking about getting a promotion for blowing up a city of 1 million people. The disconnect from the reality of their actions is just chilling. It's like they're discussing quarterly earnings reports.
They're true company men. That's what's so unsettling about the officer agents in Baroque Works. They aren't pirates with dreams or revolutionaries with a cause. They are employees. This is just a job, a gruesome task on their to-do list, and success means moving up the corporate ladder. Crocodile has built an organization that commodifies death and destruction.
And look at their designs. Mr. Seven has the number 7 tattooed on his cheeks and eyebrows, and his gun shoots bullets shaped like dice. Miss Father's Day is dressed like a poison dart frog? It's completely absurd, which almost makes their casual evil worse. They're like cartoon characters about to commit a war crime.
That's a recurring theme in One Piece. The most dangerous people are often the ones who look the most ridiculous. It's a way of reminding us not to judge by appearances and that evil can wear a silly, smiling face. They aren't cackling maniacs. They're just two people doing their job, and that is terrifying.
Mr. Seven gets ready to light the fuse, and then we're ripped away from that, down into the darkness of the underground tomb. The contrast is jarring, from the bright open sky at the top of the tower to the claustrophobic crumbling ruins below.
Where Crocodile is having a very hard time understanding what he's looking at. He is intellectually and emotionally short-circuiting. He just cannot comprehend how Luffy is still standing. He's looking at this kid who he's beaten twice, who he's impaled, who he's dehydrated, who he's poisoned, and Luffy is just coming at him relentlessly. Crocodile is a Lobia user. He's probably used to people just giving up in despair. He calls it a miracle that Luffy can even stand, but it's not a miracle, it's will. Crocodile, for all his intelligence and strategic brilliance, has a fundamental blind spot. He doesn't understand the power of intangibles like loyalty, love, and sheer, stubborn willpower. He can calculate power levels and devil fruit advantages, but he can't quantify the human spirit.
That's the core of it. Crocodile thinks in terms of devil fruits, strategy, and overwhelming power. He doesn't have a category for someone who just refuses to lose. Luffy unleashes a Gomu Gomu no Gatling, and even though Crocodile dodges it, the pure ferocity is incredible. This isn't the playful Gatling he used against Kuro or Arlong. This is desperate. He's just throwing everything he has left, every last ounce of energy into those punches.
Crocodile even points out that Luffy is growing numb from the poison. He's patiently laying out all the logical reasons Luffy should be finished, almost as if he's trying to convince himself as much as Luffy. He's presenting a logical argument to a force of nature.
But Luffy doesn't operate on logic. He operates on instinct and emotion. Crocodile tells him, win or lose, you're getting buried down here anyway. And he's right, the place is about to collapse. But that's the exact kind of thing that makes Luffy terrifying. The world just runs out of ways to stop him before he runs out of reasons to keep fighting. He's a walking, talking embodiment of an unstoppable force.
Crocodile's analysis is technically correct from his worldview. The problem is his worldview is too small to contain a force like Monkey D. Luffy. He's trying to fit an ocean into a teacup, and it's just overflowing and making a mess of his nice, orderly plans.
It's perfect. While Crocodile's monologuing about how impossible this is, we cut back to the clock tower, and the impossible is exactly what the rest of the crew is about to attempt. The juxtaposition is just chef's kiss.
The countdown begins. 15 seconds. The panels get smaller, more frantic. The sense of speed is immense.
And Nami just says, okay, let's go. So calm, so in charge. The plan is on. And what a plan it is.
It's absolute beautiful insanity. We see Chopper in his walk point form, standing on top of Usopp, with Vivi sitting on Chopper's back, a 3-person totem pole of desperation.
This is peak Straw Hat logistics. I can just picture the meeting. It probably took all of 30 seconds. Okay, we need to get Vivi to the top of the tower. It's too high to jump. How? And Nami, the navigator, the one who understands wind and trajectory, comes up with this. It's applied science at its most chaotic.
Directly into his crotch. For propulsion. It's the only way. It's the central point of mass. It's probably the only place she could aim that would make him jump that high out of pure reflex. He screams and launches Chopper and Vivi straight into the air like a bottle rocket. It's maybe the funniest and clutchest thing Nami has ever done.
They fly up towards Sanji, who's waiting for them on a ledge higher up. He's perfectly positioned, just casually smoking a cigarette as if he catches flying human reindeer princess hybrids every day. And Sanji, without missing a beat, catches this human projectile on his leg and just pivots, launching them even higher with a perfectly aimed kick. The coordination is beautiful. It's not a brute force kick, it's precise. He has to calculate the angle, the force, everything in a split second. This is the artistry of the black leg style.
It's a relay race against time. Each member has one specific job to do, and the handoff has to be perfect. There's no room for error. If Nami's aim is off by a few inches, if Sanji's kick is too strong or too weak, the whole thing fails. 1 million people die.
They fly up to the next level, and who's waiting for them? Zoro, standing there, swords out, ready for his part. And the first thing he does is give them battlefield intel. He warns Vivi that there are a couple of weirdos up at the top with a bomb. Classic Zoro, always focused on the threat. He's not even looking at them. He's already looking up at the target.
And the clock is still ticking. 10 seconds. The pacing in these panels is breathtaking. So much information and action is conveyed in such a short amount of page space.
This whole sequence is everything I love about this crew. It's not about one person being strong enough. It's about every single one of them using their unique skills in perfect concert. Nami's scientific mind, Usopp's durability and willingness to be the projectile, Sanji's incredible leg strength and precision, Zoro's raw power and stability.
And the absolute unquestioning trust they have in each other. Usopp has to trust Nami's aim, not to, permanently damage him. Sanji has to trust their trajectory is catchable. Zoro has to trust Sanji's kick will deliver them to the right spot. And Vivi has to trust all of them.
She's literally putting her life and the life of her entire kingdom in their hands, in their weird, ridiculous Rube Goldberg machine of a plan. She's not screaming, she's not panicking, she's just holding on, her face set with determination. She trusts them. That's everything.
But just as Zoro is about to launch them for the final stage, the weirdos at the top notice. The plan was too audacious to go completely undetected.
Mr. Seven and Miss Father's Day spot them, this flying princess and reindeer combo, and they just ready their guns. They don't even question it. They just identify a target and prepare to eliminate it. They're stuck, completely helpless in midair.
And at that exact moment of maximum tension with our friends in the crosshairs, the scene cuts back underground. It is a masterful, almost cruel piece of editing.
Back to Crocodile, who is just screaming at Luffy. He's lost his cool composure. This is no longer a game to him. He lays out his whole philosophy. He says Luffy could have avoided all of this, all this pain, all this death, if he'd just run away, if he'd just abandoned a couple of friends.
He's trying to break him mentally. He's attacking the very foundation of Luffy's character. He's telling Luffy that his loyalty, his core belief, is the source of his suffering. From Crocodile's perspective, attachments are weaknesses to be exploited in others and purged from oneself.
And Luffy's response? Man, it's one of his all-time greatest lines. It's not some grand speech. It's not a complex rebuttal. He just screams back at him. He says that because Vivi's their friend, he doesn't want her to die. It's that simple. It's the purest, most honest motivation in the world.
There's no complex ideology there. It's the purest motivation imaginable. Crocodile is trying to have a philosophical debate, and Luffy is just stating an emotional fact. It's like arguing with a hurricane.
He goes on, yelling that as long as Vivi doesn't give up on her country, he and the crew won't give up on her, even if it kills them. He's literally making a promise to a friend who can't even hear him in the middle of a life-or-death battle deep underground.
Okay, but think about what this means with the cross-cutting. This is the genius of the storytelling. On the surface, Crocodile is saying, don't risk your life for your friends. And at the exact same time, on the panel right next to it, we see the Straw Hats literally throwing their friends through the air, putting them in the direct line of fire.
Whoa, you're right. I was so caught up in the action, I didn't even... That's incredible. It's like we're seeing a direct visual argument play out on the page.
It looks like a contradiction, but it's not. It's the ultimate refutation of what Crocodile is saying. His idea of friendship is a liability, a weakness that will get you killed. The Straw Hats' idea of friendship is a source of strength, a bond of trust so powerful that they can use each other as weapons, as tools, as parts of a machine to achieve the impossible. They aren't risking Vivi's life, they are entrusting it to the combined strength of the crew.
He sees friends as anchors that hold you back. Luffy sees them as the engine that drives you forward. That's the entire philosophical war of Alabasta right there in one exchange across two locations. Crocodile is trying to conquer a kingdom with schemes and power, while Luffy is trying to save it with friendship.
Exactly. Crocodile's world is built on betrayal and using people. The Straw Hat's world is built on trust and relying on people. And we're about to see which one wins. It's not just a fight for a kingdom, it's a battle for the soul of the story.
And we cut back to the air for the final moments. 7 seconds left on the clock. The number 7 again. It feels fated.
The agents are aiming their guns. Zoro is holding Vivi and Chopper on his swords, ready to launch them. He's got them balanced on the flat of the blades, a feat of strength and balance that is absurd in its own right.
This is it, the final stage. He looks at Chopper, the newest member of the crew, the little reindeer who thought he was a monster just a few weeks ago on Drum Island, the kid who was terrified of humans.
And Zoro just says, "It's up to you."
The weight of that line, it hits like a cannonball. The trust. Zoro, the first one to join him, the rock of the crew, the most serious and demanding member, is putting the fate of the entire kingdom and Vivi's life into Chopper's hands. Or hooves.
It's Chopper's ultimate moment of inclusion. He's not the emergency food supply. He's not just the doctor patching them up after the fact. In this moment, he is a Straw Hat pirate, a frontline combatant with a critical role, and the crew is counting on him to do his part. This is the moment he truly joins the crew, in spirit and in action.
And that's where the chapter ends. 7 seconds, with 2 guns pointed at them and an entire city about to be wiped off the map. This is peak One Piece. Super.
The tension is almost unbearable. Every single plotline, Luffy's fight, the crew's rescue mission, the Marines' struggle, the bomb itself, is converging on this one moment at the top of the clock tower.
I can't even process it. Chopper has to do something. Vivi has to stop the bomb, and they have to do it before they get shot out of the sky. What can Chopper even do? Is he supposed to transform? Throw her? What's the plan?
And all the while, Luffy is fighting for the soul of the country underneath their feet, fueled by the very friendship that's being tested up above. The synergy is perfect.
This is a masterclass in storytelling. The pacing, the cross-cutting, the thematic resonance, the character moments, the comedy, the tension. It's perfect. This is a chapter you could teach in a film class.
So, with 7 seconds left on the clock, what do you think happens in the next chapter? Every second is going to feel like an eternity.
Okay, what do you all think is going to happen in those 7 seconds? Is the human cannonball plan gonna work? Let us know your craziest theories down in the comments. We read every single one.
Go on, Franky. Your predictions. The floor is yours.
Alright, prediction 1. Chopper is the key. Zoro said it's up to him. I don't think his job is just to carry Vivi. That's too simple. I think he's going to pop a rumble ball mid-air, go into a transformation, probably horn point or even guard point, and physically block the bullets meant for Vivi. He becomes the shield. That's his role. He's the doctor, the one who protects life. And here he does it by literally putting his body on the line.
A mid-air transformation? That would be something to see. The physics are questionable, but the thematic weight is undeniable.
Prediction 2. We get the synchronized victory. The final panel of next chapter will be a split screen. On one side, Vivi smashes the cannon or extinguishes the fuse at the last possible second. 1 second left on the clock. On the other, Luffy lands the final definitive blow on Crocodile, sending him crashing through the bedrock up into the city streets. A total simultaneous victory for the Straw Hats, proving their philosophy right on every level at the exact same moment.
I like that. Thematically, it would be very satisfying. A knockout blow delivered both physically and ideologically.
And my third prediction, a bit of a long shot, Pell. I'm still not convinced he's gone. That was too heroic a sacrifice to just happen off screen. I think just as Mr. Seven and Miss Father's Day are about to fire, a shadow passes over them. It's Pell. battered, burned, but alive, swooping in to take out the agents, clearing the path for Vivi and Chopper. The Guardian Falcon gets one last save for his princess.
That would be a classic storytelling move, the presumed dead character returning at the most critical moment. It would certainly bring the house down. Okay, my turn.
Let's hear it.
Prediction 1. I agree that Vivi stops the bomb, but I think the how is important. She won't just put out the fuse with her hands. That feels too simple for a princess who has been fighting so hard. I think she will use her peacock slashers, her own unique weapon, to precisely cut the cannonball itself, or the firing mechanism, disabling the weapon entirely. It has to be her action, using her skills, that saves her people. A symbol that she is a capable leader, not just a damsel to be saved.
Oh, I like that. It's not just a desperate lunge, it's a display of her own strength and agency right at the finish line. That's super cool.
Prediction 2. Luffy wins, but at a great cost. The poison is still a factor. It has been mentioned too many times to be a non-issue. I predict he defeats Crocodile, but immediately collapses, completely incapacitated and near death. The immediate aftermath won't be a celebration, but a frantic search for an antidote. This might force me, my namesake, to interact with a defeated Crocodile, perhaps trading the information on the poneglyph for the nature of his poison to save Luffy. It would be my first act of tentative alliance with the crew.
So the physical threat ends, but the medical one begins. That's dark. I love it. It would create a whole new kind of tension.
And my third prediction is about Zoro. I don't think Pell is coming back just yet. I think the agents will fire their guns, and Zoro, in the split second after he's launched Vivi and Chopper, will use his swords, maybe a Shishi Sansan or a similar high-speed draw, to deflect the bullets out of the air, protecting them even after his part of the job is technically done. A final impossible feat of swordsmanship to ensure the plan succeeds, showing he is always watching his crew's back.
A swordsman cutting bullets out of the air while falling. Yeah, that sounds exactly like something Zoro would do. He'd probably call it a warm-up. Bro, I can't wait. My gears are turning just thinking about it.
7 seconds have never felt so long.
This next chapter is going to be an all-timer. We'll be here to break it all down, second by glorious second.
Until then, keep an eye on the clock.